Thank you so much.
Great city, it's true.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Erin, and I'm from Arlington, Virginia.
Hi, Erin.
And my
Sold paperback books there too.
Where didn't you sell paperbacks?
my question is specific to Cary. Would you please say as you wish?
I'm coming
Let's
down
give
there.
everyone a second to get your phones out.
As you wish.
Hey, over here. Hi.
Hi, my name is Esther, and I'm from Lorton, Virginia.
Hi.
Hi.
So, for the giant rodents, how did you not get crushed by those?
Well, there were little people inside them. And they were actually sewn into those rat suits, which were made of foam rubber and lots of fur. And the set was very hot. We had big lights, much bigger than these, and they were burning hot. And I was lucky because I was wearing a kind of a thin shirt and suede pants, which were not great. But they were, I felt lucky compared to these poor fellas who were literally sewn into the suits. And so I made sure that after each take, that somebody came and cut the cord and let them out. I said, you gotta let these guys out. They're gonna die in there. But they were fabulous guys. One of them was a stunt man and also an actor, and he was the lead guy I had to stab with a sword. And he went missing the day of that shoot. So he apparently had gone out drinking the night before and got arrested. And when he arrived on the set, literally 12 hours later, we made him tell what happened. Made him tell us what happened. He said, "Well, I tried to convince a policeman." This is how he spoke. He went, "I tried to convince a policeman I was doing a movie." And the policeman said, "Oh yeah, what are you playing in the film?" He said, "I'm playing a rat." He said, "Right, back of the van. Go on, back of the van. Go on." Didn't believe him. So poor guy got arrested and ended up making probably, the hardest day of his life was to go from prison to being stabbed by me inside a rat suit. So God bless him. He's a lovely man. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm dying. Okay, if anyone can't see.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Darren.
Hi, Darren.
Aaron, you're fantastic. You're fantastic. Can we get him up here? Come on up here. Come on. Look at that. He walks with such purpose. Look at him. Darren, aren't you fantastic? Come on, come on, come on. This is Darren, everyone. And let me tell you, I'm nervous. Go ahead, Darren.
My question is, were there any stuntmen for the sword fight with Wesley and Inigo at the top of the Cliffs of Insanity?
Well, that's a very good question, Darren. By the way, I like your mustache. So there was one stunt person. You know when we fly, when we jump on the what is it? The bar. Thank you. I told you I was nervous. When we did the loop on the bar, that was a gymnast that we hired to come in and do it. Everything else was us. Can you believe that? No, crazy. But you look fantastic. Who made this fabulous outfit for you?
Well, some of this was bought, and this was used by my dad.
Wow, that's cool. Where's Dad? Yes. All right, give it up for Dad. You want to ask Chris? Shake his hand. Come shake his hand.
Good to meet you, Darren.
You know something? You're really smooth. If there was a sequel of The Princess Bride, I'd vote this guy. Awesome. There you go. But a Buttercup's baby right there.
Over here.
Mr. Sarandon, Mr. Elwes, first, thank you for your time today and being here.
Thank you.
And
What's your name?
Ricky.
Robert.
And thank you for the gift you gave us 32 years ago.
Thank you.
All of us have memorized the lines, and we all have a very favorite scene that lives in our heart for each of you. And it doesn't have to be a scene you were in. What's your favorite scene from the movie?
My favorite scene? Well, it would have to be something I was in, of course. I'm swamped. That's such a, first of all, when you think about it, that's such a brilliant line that leads up to it, and the tag is just perfect. Yeah.
That was a great scene. My favorite, believe it or not, is Andre saying, "Anybody want a peanut?" I don't know why. It's so silly. It just got me. And apparently that was written on the day. That wasn't in the script. That was written on the day. And it's, yeah, anybody want a peanut? You know, yeah. It's written. Yeah. How about that? I said to Bill Goldman before he passed away, I said, you've got to get them to write a Peanut song in the Broadway musical. There has to be, right? I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over here.
Hi. I'm Cary. And
Hi.
Chris. Can you say this yours to me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But, you know, The Princess Bride has some of the most iconic movie lines in all of history. So I was wondering, what are some of your favorite iconic movie lines?
I think I just said mine.
And I'm mine.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know the film.
do you mean from other
General,
movies?
Yeah, from
in
other-
general.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, God. Jeez, there's so many.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Network.
Play it again, Sam.
Yeah.
Gotta be Play It Again, Sam. Oh, golly.
Hey, over here.
Hi, what's your
Hi.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm
Hi,
from
Emily.
New York.
Hi, Emily.
My question is, what was the hardest part about playing your roles?
Huh. The hardest part for me was containing my nerves, working with actors who were people I admired and grew up watching, like Chris here, as I mentioned before. I had to really go in my dressing room and just meditate and calm myself, because I thought, you know, if I go out there and blow it with these professionals, I'll never live it down in my own head. So that was the hardest thing for me. I had to really focus and make sure I didn't blow it, you know, like I did with Darren on stage earlier on. But it was exciting, but kind of nerve-wracking at the same time. I had butterflies in my stomach every day, and it was thrilling. It was exciting. It was funny, as I mentioned. It was everything, and yeah.
The first day, Chris Guest and I were taken to a place called Rickmansworth Stables, just outside of London, to ride, and they introduced me to my horse. His name was Fury. Couldn't have named him Bruce. Couldn't have named him Cutie Pie. His name was Fury. He was a big black stallion, and I had never ridden a horse before in my life. He turned out to be a puff cake. He was a cutie. Chris Guest's horse, who was about 9 feet tall, buck teeth, was totally unmanageable. He could not control that horse. And of course, none of this, you know, we trained almost as much as you guys did for the sword fight on the horses, and you see us run up, move right up. That's it.
I will inevitably screw up which side I was on, but now it's your turn. Yeah.
Hello,
What's your name?
Deborah?
Hi, Deborah.
I had a question about Psych. It looked like it was a lot of fun to do, and I was wondering what it was like being on the show.
Gosh, silly. Very silly. Lots of laughs on that, too. I wasn't prepared for Dule Hill's character scream. So when I heard it for the first time on set, I blew that tape. I just went, no. And he went, yeah, that's what I do. And it was, but that was like that every day. There were so many outtakes. And we were encouraged to improvise a lot. And those guys were just silly every day. It was very funny. Very silly.
I actually did one episode.
You did?
Of the show, yeah, and same thing, yeah. Great set. Those guys, very funny, particularly James.
Particularly James.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, over here.
Hi. Wow.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's Laurel. I'm from
Hi,
New
Laurel.
York. We actually have Sarah Lawrence in common.
Right on.
Yeah.
You went to Sir Lawrence?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, go Black Squirrels. I'd love to know more about the audition process for the movie.
I don't think Chris had to audition.
Oh, yeah, I did.
For real?
Oh, absolutely.
What?
Oh, are you kidding?
This man had... Oh, wow.
No.
I didn't know that.
No, I'm writing a book, not because Cary talked me into writing it.
Yes.
And one of the stories I tell in the book is about going for the audition.
Oh my God, I need to hear this.
Yeah, I was on my way to Bill Goldman's apartment.
Right.
And I had just read in the paper that the New York Knicks, so I'm a big Knicks fan, had drafted a guy that I thought was a huge mistake. So I walk into the room and they said, how are you? And I said, God! They said, what's the matter? And I said, the New York Knicks just drafted Kenny Walker. And Bill Goldman went, yeah, do you believe this? And he and I sat down and talked about Kenny Walker for like 15 minutes, Mark. We just, we were just rapping away, and finally Rob goes, excuse me, but do you think maybe we could read? And I did, and Rob laughed, he's a wonderful audience, Rob. And the next day I found out I was hired.
I can't imagine that he wasn't going to. I'm sure he had you in mind already. Now, I think Rob does like to hear the actors say the lines. It's what he said to me. I was in Berlin making a movie right after Chernobyl, believe it or not. And I'll never forget, on the set, the production manager called a meeting. And he goes, we have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that there's been a reactor that has exploded in Russia. And the wind is blowing the radioactive material in this direction. The good news is that the wind has changed this morning. So I was quite excited to get off that set, obviously. And Rob came to visit me in Berlin. He said, we're serious. I'm a Jew in Berlin. I'm serious. And I said I couldn't wait, and he pulled out the script and he made me read the Dread Pirate Robert's speech in the swamp, which was a long, full page of stuff. And it's the first time I was seeing the script, and I thought, oh God, this is, because I suck at auditioning, and I read it for him, and I thought, oh, this is awful. He went, that's okay, all right, good. And I went, that's it, it's over. Nice meeting this guy, never gonna happen. And a week later, I got the call, so it changed my life. The call that changed my life. Yeah.
And ours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff from Ashburn, Virginia.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. This question is for Cary. Actually, two things. First thing, how scary was it getting your memory jogged by Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride?
Oh, you mean have him shake my head?
Yeah.
Oh, I came up with that, because there was no physical behavior between us in the scene. And I said to Rob, I go, anytime you can see Andre's hand on top of somebody's head and get the size of it would be a good thing. And I said, what if, because as I came up with all this floppy behavior with body language, and I said, what if he just moves my head for me? And Rob went, that's great, let's do that. And so in the scene, Andre did that, and he's actually, believe it or not, for a guy who was 450 pounds, he was very gentle, a real gentle giant, and he was very delicate, and we had no injuries from him. In fact, he was in a lot of pain because he had terrible back issues from being beaten up in the ring, and but he never complained. He came to work with a smile on his face every day. He was Rob had recorded all of his dialogue on tape recorder, so he was walking around with a Walkman and headphones, which looked like tiny pieces of foam in his giant head. And he was learning all the dialogue from listening to Rob. And he was the sweetest guy. So yeah, no, very gentle. Yeah.